Swamiji, now you can unmute and start.
Yes. Namaste. Good evening to everyone. The human mind has generally cultivated concentration. At least they have tried and they are trying to develop concentration has been an obsession with humanity. Parents tell the children, concentrate on your studies, concentrate on this activity, that activity. Elders, teachers, it's in the air. Everywhere you go, people are trying to concentrate, achieve more in less time. And there is the false belief that it is concentration that solves human problems. Unfortunately, that is not the truth. A very small number of people, a minority really, sees the sad limitations, if not objectionable problems that are associated with concentration. In the ancient India, rishis spoke about two kinds of, call it learning or call it wisdom. One they called lower wisdom, apara vidya. The second is called higher wisdom, para vidya. As we take up this topic of concentration and attention, let me say a statement in advance. In apara vidya, the lower wisdom, lower knowledge, that body of lower skills, that lower department of acquisition of expertise, concentration plays a role indeed. But in what the rishis called paravidya, which is supposed to set free the human being, concentration is not the answer. Concentration is not the way. Concentration is not the key. It is attention and awareness that can bring to one the higher wisdom. There's an old Sanskrit saying about that higher wisdom. Sa vidya ya vimuktaye. That alone is truly wisdom which leads to liberation. Then what does the lower wisdom or lower learning get for us? Well, the lower wisdom can get for us a million things, but all of them are bound in time. They cause, they bring to us great excitement, fame, name. We may get very wealthy, a hundred such things, a million such things, whatever. But all of them die. They die away. And what is worse, even as there is excitement in a certain domain or certain area, there is suffering, there are harmful effects of the achievements of concentration. Concentration and attention are thus A wonderful pair of words and a careful reflection on these two ways in which our mind may act, our intelligence may operate, can take us really very far in self knowing. We live our life mostly without knowing ourselves, without knowing who we are, without knowing what we want, without knowing what we truly need, without knowing a lot of fundamentals. We gather knowledge about 1,000 non essentials. Concentration and attention. We are here to examine the differences and the common ground. This afternoon itself, I heard that Vimala Takar wrote a whole book, not a big one, a small one, on the theme concentration, attention, and meditation. Truly enough, it is the quality of attention that can help us or that can make us go into true meditation. Concentration cannot bring about true meditation, though there is so much confusion in the world and people link meditation with concentration on some figure, some breath maybe, some sensation maybe, some symbol, some piece of sound or music. However, meditation in its pristine meaning is connected more with attention. So, what is concentration and what is attention? You know, within us, there are two tendencies coming up again and again, and they are to hold and to let go. Concentration is about holding. In attention, we let go. We do not attach ourselves to anything. In concentration, one attaches oneself to something and then does not bother about anything else. The so called great scientists, I'm adding so called because these scientists who are held in high esteem in this world, from a higher philosophical point of view, did not contribute what is liberating. They contributed very fascinating things to humanity, to the well being of humanity, to generate comfort, convenience, to create facilities, amenities. So, someone said, science gives to us prosperity and philosophy gives to us peace. Someone said, see, all these words need to be re examined. What science means to someone may mean something else to someone else. And science and technology in this world are one thing, and we must not confuse them with a scientific spirit. Scientific spirit is very much something that goes along with attention, inquiry, examination. Even Socrates, before breathing his last, after taking poison, made that much quoted statement: an unexamined life is not worth living. He called for examination, re examination. So I said a while ago, in concentration we hold, in attention we let go, which doesn't mean that we fly away like a kite, the string of which is cut. Attention is not that kind of letting go that we just fly away directionlessly. I am using the expression letting go in the sense of if there was any special choice, if there was some choosing, if there was some selecting, if there was some extra value attached to something, because of which we would turn a blind eye to anything else, that kind of exclusiveness is dropped in attention. Concentration has indeed helped people in different spheres of human activity to achieve a lot. They say Thomas Edison, who later on invented and discovered a whole lot of things, at a young age once sat on the egg of some bird. He sat very patiently for a length of time, hoping to hatch that egg so that a baby bird would come out. Another time, I guess, he took some gas, believing that once he consumes that gas, he would be able to fly in the air. Thank God he did not die. It must have been a bit poisonous. His parents or some people came and rescued him from some terrible effects that would have ensued because of his consuming that gas. You know, you can fill some gas into a balloon, and then if you release it, it will go very high in the air. This little boy, Thomas Edison, thought, I'll take that gas inside me and I will be floating in the air. The same boy later on was able to concentrate on scientific experiments, and he found out so many things which blessed humanity with a lot of conveniences. So we had a lesson in high school where for me English was just a subject. Everything else I studied in my mother tongue. And there was a lesson for us in English subject, The Wizard of Menlo Park. I've forgotten the details, but in those childhood days, in those high school days, Thomas Edison was like, fascinating, ideal figure for us. No wonder many people like me went for science and engineering, etc. It's only later that we came across these mystics and very lofty seers like Krishnaji, where our eyes opened to the sad limitations of mere science. Scientific spirit is good, but to get stuck with science is a wild goose chase. You don't end anywhere. In concentration, thus, we exercise our intelligence in some chosen direction. Many do it keeping certain profits in mind. And I guess someone like Edison, he was very naive. He was not so much after money or fame, it appears. But he concentrated on particular phenomena particular possibilities in the world of matter and energy, properties of matter. That reminds me, during college days, we had a very thick book on physics, and that physics book was titled Properties of Matter. And the author was D.S. Mathur. But we used to joke, hey, do you have that Properties of Mathur by D.S. Matter? I want to borrow it from you. Deliberately, we would exchange matter and Mathur. So, in the domain of matter and energy, in the domain of forces, in the domain of laws of nature, there is so much to examine. And if one concentrates, one can find, discover, invent things. Let me not be biased towards science just because I happen to have some science, not too much, as my background in poetry, in philosophy, in economics, anywhere, in any subject, music and dance and art and everything. Concentration can maximize your performance. So they give the example of a magnifying glass which is kept in such a way that sun's rays get focused, concentrated through that convex lens and fall upon a dry leaf. Most of us as children would have done that and got amazed. Within a minute or two, the dry leaf burns, smoke and fire come out of it. Ah, look at the power of concentration. Even teachers like Vivekananda, in certain contexts, praised concentration. Let me mention the common ground between concentration and attention at this juncture. In attention, we are going to say a little more later. There is something so beautiful, so unburdening, so healthy, so beneficial to us, truly speaking. So, if someone like Vivekananda also praised concentration, why did he do that? For that matter, rishis did not brush aside aparavidya, they praised it. Sanat Kumara in Chandogya Upanishad praises concentrating upon a number of hidden capacities in us, tapping the most out of them, making the most out of them, and he did not really look, look down at them per se. But at the right point, speaking to Narada, Sanat Kumara says, all these faculties, abilities, aspects of our hidden potential, skills that you and I have, mental powers that you and I have, all these upon being honed can achieve a lot for us, no doubt, but all these cannot free us from sorrow. Ending of sorrow does not come about by all these dimensions of aparavidya. He uses a different word. He uses the word alpa. In alpa, that is finite, there is no happiness, says Sanat Kumara. And only in Ananta, for which in that particular chapter the word used is Bhuma. Bhuma means Ananta. Only in Bhuma there is true happiness. Alpe sukham nasti. Yo vai Bhuma tat sukham. There is one punchline. So what is the common ground then? There must be something good about concentration. Otherwise, even wise people like Vivekananda or Sanat Kumara, would not have spent time on praising concentration, even if it is in a certain context. What context is that where concentration deserves to be praised. It is just this. Broadly speaking, we have three possibilities. The energies in us, mental energy, physical energy, emotional energy, and whatever else, they could be very much distributed, going in multiple directions. We could be lacking in decisiveness. We could be lacking in being clear about what we want. So, in the lower sciences, I personally do not really object to it or dismiss it. It has a place of its own. In the lower sciences, we are rightly told begin with end in mind. Be clear what you want. What do you want to become in 5 years and work towards that? Mobilize your resources, etc. is said. It's a lower level and that has its own value. So, what is the common ground then? In concentration, also, we free ourselves, we keep away from our energies being diffused or being directionless. As somebody gave an example, you make a number of holes in your piece of land, and each of them are 10 feet or 5 feet or 20 feet deep. You made 25 holes in the land. You won't strike water. Strike what? Do you want to strike water? Dig a hole. With available knowledge, you select a spot and go 300, 400, 500 feet, drill and drill. Maybe at 700 feet depth, you will find water. So, such examples are given. So, in contrast to digging small holes, shallow holes all over the piece of land, digging at one spot makes sense. So, the common ground between concentration and attention seems to be in both of them, there is the absence of mindless, thoughtless, or intelligence-less movement of energy. However, in concentration, you take a goal, you pursue a goal, but alas, that goal cannot lead you to ending of sorrow. It cannot lead you to self-knowing. You will be able to accomplish some marvelous things in a chosen field of activity. Agreed. So, to say just once more, the fact that you don't fritter away your energy is common in both, in concentration and in attention. So, let's now come to attention and make it clear, try to make it clear what the big difference is. I already said in concentration, we hold. In attention, we let go. Do we let go just like that? No, that letting go is backed by certain maturity, certain extraordinary intelligence, certain suspicion that what I am holding on to cannot really give me true happiness. The limited cannot give me the unlimited. And therefore, I inquire. I don't let go just because somebody tells me, let go of this, let go of that. Somebody comes and says, hey, you are eating ice cream, you know how bad it is, let go of it. I throw it into trash can. Just now I had bought it, let us say, for a heavy price. I dropped it into a trash can. But I am missing it. After 2 minutes, I see the same man who advised me to drop the ice cream is eating much bigger piece of ice cream. That is unintelligent dropping. I dropped it because he so told me. So because some book praised renunciation, because some Sanskrit scripture talked about, how there is true peace only in Tyaga. Tyagena eva shanti, somewhere you read. And because it's said in Sanskrit, you said, so you do some sort of Tyaga without really having much understanding. So you will only come back within a short while with vengeance as though to enjoy life. So, what is this letting go in context of attention? It's a deep or profound realization. You and I get a certain insight that I have done enough of investing in name, fame, investing in building an image of my own. I have bothered enough about a wonderful image, leave alone others, a wonderful image in my own eyes. I want to say to myself, I am an achiever, I am a good guy, I am a noble person. So for me, my mind to say I am a noble person, I keep doing some mumbo jumbo, let us say. So the point comes when you and I realize whom are we deceiving? Why should I deceive the society by some acrobatics, some circus, whereby the society may call me a wise person, good person, and so on. Leave the society aside. Why should I deceive myself by doing something and then beginning to believe what a pious person I am? What is true piety? What is true goodness? So we inquire and then we realize that true goodness, being a true good human being, is not by talking, not by writing something, not by impressing people, not by sitting morning and evening in some special posture and repeating some mantra or whatever else, by social service, by having a designation of senior professor in physics or something. So, by some designation, I am senior most Swamiji or Lama or Mullah or this, that. In this world, there are so many positions and self descriptions that temporarily give to us we have arrived somewhere. And then we know that the ending of one problem is the beginning many times of a bigger problem. Then we say, hmm. Therefore, there is a certain intelligence in operation. We realize that holding on to any image, position, designation, etc., doesn't lead me anywhere. Then I give quiet attention to what my mind is proposing. I am, let us say, a professor of mathematics in famed Madras University, good old university that I guess opened during the British times, some reputed place. I am a professor of mathematics. And my mind suggests, you have taught enough in this part of the world and you are reputed. Try a hand. Why don't you go to a Western university and occupy a coveted chair, be a professor of maths there? And then attention comes in there. I pay attention to that proposal that the mind is making. Go there and you will be happy. Change your designation, professor in Madras University, let it be removed. Let it now be professor in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in artificial intelligence, blah blah. These days, so many things have come. Nothing wrong with artificial intelligence or maths. They are all wonderful subjects. But my imagining that with that kind of designation or that kind of role in some other setting will set me free is very foolish. I realize that. So I notice the operation of thought, and with an inquisitive and inquiring approach, I shake the very foundations of that thinking. That thinking gets shaken in attention. Well, having said this, I need not go further really. Attention is not about a set goal. Attention is about noticing what has somehow come from somewhere, some habit, some conditioning, some old influence, or even a recent influence. This afternoon, somebody said, "Oh, you should not be here, you should be over there." It influenced me, and I'm a bit agitated by 6 p.m. Yeah, so true. He was. I have wasted my years in this country. I will go to that place, and so on. So you see, things come on their own. Attention is inquiring into those things that come on their own in a manner of saying. It doesn't set a goal. Attention doesn't set a goal. Mind tends to set a goal, mind tends to bring ideas of becoming. This conditioned mind has always some proposal. The conditioned mind is always trying to, pass a file. Is that word pass, passing a file or clear a file? In government or private offices, a file needs to be pushed from this table to that table. The conditioned mind is always trying to push a file from here to there. Attention comes in and says, what's going on? Can we understand it? And in that understanding, a lot of unburdening takes place. In that understanding, which dawns upon us by that attention, a lot of letting go happens. Therefore, let me conclude my submissions saying attention without any prior goal at all is a beautiful aspect of the intelligence in us, whereby things fall into place in a healthy, normal, can we call it an organic way, leaving us relaxed, happy, as well as leaving us in a state of love, state of peace, state of complete self acceptance, in a state of acceptance of people around us rather than being judgmental, finding fault with them or envying somebody. Oh, how wonderful he is. I wish I was like her, etc. That's all the petty mind's work. In attention, we come upon a certain state, maybe you can call it meditation, where we do not envy, we do not wish ill to anybody. We accept ourselves also as we are, which is not a stagnation. There is learning, there is growing, there is expression, but nothing coming out from some prefabricated, conditionings. So attention is the portal to freedom. Perhaps we can say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chidanandji. Harshad Parekh sir, would you please unmute and say something?
Yes, are you able to hear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji. You have explained very well. I will speak a little bit about what I have understood. In Mahabharata, there is a story about Guru Dronacharya, and he was the guru of Kaurava and Pandava. And one day he placed a wooden bird on the branch of a tree, and he called all his disciples, both Kauravas and Pandavas. And first he called Duryodhana, the oldest one, and Dronacharya asked him, "What do you see?" So Duryodhana says, "I see the tree, I see the branches, I see the leaves, and I see the bird." And Dronacharya did not allow Duryodhana to use his bow and arrow because the answer was not satisfactory to Dronacharya. And then one by one, he called many Pandavas and Kauravas, and they all gave similar answer. Finally, it was Arjuna, and when Arjuna was asked, "What do you see?" and Arjuna says, "I see only the eye of the bird." That means Arjuna really concentrated on the eye of the bird, the aim he was going to take, and then Arjuna was allowed to hit the bird, and Arjuna was successful in hitting the eye of the bird. So that is an example of concentration, and we all um, try to concentrate when we want to study something. All students, they have to concentrate on their when they have to give examination, when they have to concentrate. But uh, in what happens in concentration, that the mind sometimes goes somewhere else, and then the student has to bring again the mind back to the study. So in that there is a kind of a conflict, and then there is a sense of ego, the I or me who wants to do well in the studies. And even in the field of religion, that people, disciples are advised to concentrate on the image of a god or a goddess. And disciples, they try, but sometimes they find it very difficult. But Ramakrishna was able to concentrate well on the image of Kali, and even he was very frustrated, and he was not able to see the goddess face to face. And then when he tried to kill himself by taking a sword, at that time he had the vision of the goddess. So the concentration was taken to its highest point, and it exploded, and it worked. But again, when Ramakrishna had to study Vedanta under Totapuri, Ramakrishna was not able to free himself from the image of Kali. And then Totapuri, the guru, helped him by making a scratch on the forehead and told Ramakrishna to concentrate on the forehead. And after some time, Ramakrishna was able to free himself from the image of Kali, and he went into the state of attention. And that is what they call samadhi, nirvikalp samadhi, in which there are no images and there is a real freedom. So Ramakrishna had gone through both concentration as well as attention. Even people who play sports like Tendulkar, they will concentrate on the ball, or even people who play table tennis, because it is a very fast game. So the players have to all the time concentrate on the ball. to play well. Um, but attention is something very difficult also, because it requires some kind of maturity to come to allow the mind to go wherever it wants to go, and not concentrate on one particular image. So it is a difficult thing, but people who have gone very, very deep into looking at their own mind, and they are experimented with concentration, and then it may be possible to come upon this dimension of attention, in which there is no sense of I or me trying to do attention to achieve something, but whatever is happening in the mind, whatever thoughts and feelings, and moving with it, moving with thoughts and feelings in that attention. And in that, there is only thinking. There is no thinker, there is no sense of I. So there is no division between thinker and thought in this attention. And it is like moving with the wave of thinking, just like moving with the wave of light. Chronological time doesn't exist according to Einstein's theory. Similarly, moving with thinking itself, without this thinker coming and dividing and says that I want this, I don't want that, or want to concentrate on particular thought, then there is problem. Then there is a division, then there is a conflict, there is a waste of energy. But attention is moving with what is, and that is a state of freedom. And in that, there may be thinking going on, but thinking doesn't create problem, because there is no thinker who wants to change thought. So thinking can move effortlessly in the state of attention. So attention is very good for people who want to understand uh, the self in spirituality, religion. But I don't think attention can work in the field of science. In science, you have to concentrate, you know what you want to achieve, you have the problem given to you by a professor or by yourself, then you have to know a lot about what other people have done. Then you have to concentrate on the problem which you want to solve. And then in that also there is some kind of meditation happen, in which you get some idea, and once you get the idea, then you have to put that idea into mathematical form, then you have to write a computer program, and then you have to get the result, then you have to compare it with experimental result. So the science is full of knowledge, analysis, testing. There is a division between the subject and object. But in spirituality, people who want to really come to the state of freedom, in which there are no problem, no suffering, then they have to go for this state of attention, in which moving with what is, not trying to change thinking. But that itself requires some kind of freedom, some kind of maturity, and it doesn't happen without doing a lot of experimenting, and some kind of blessing also required. So uh, this is all right now I have to say. Uh, um, Thank you very much.
Dinesh Waghmare ji.
Are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Harshad sir.
Yes. Yes.
Today's subject is really or is very difficult. and Chidanand Swamiji has given one definition of attention, of letting go. Now, Harshad sir has said to move with the what is. Let us first discuss what JK has said about these two things.
Voice not coming. Your voice not coming, Dinesh. You have muted yourself.
Are you able to listen to me?
Yeah, now, yes. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
But
let us first discuss what JK has to say about this. So shortly and briefly we'll understand what JK has to say about concentration. Concentration implies exclusion, building a barrier or a wall, putting away everything else and concentrating on one thing, which Swamiji has also explained very well and Harshad sir has also said. Now, the word attention is really difficult because dictionary meaning of attention is notice taken of someone or something as interesting or important. Whereas JK has used this word at various places with different meanings. But let us concise it and see what JK has to say. Attention implies the understanding of concentration, and in attention, there are no borders or frontiers because there is no center from which you are attending. So here he said, you are attending from no center. When you observe a mountain, the trees, the river, or oneself, when you give sufficient attention, and therefore the energy, the observer with all its conditioning, with its past is absent. So he clearly says that observer with the past is absent. When there is total attention, there is no division as the observer, there is only observation. He further says that there is no division as observer and there is only observation. So when there is only observation, there is no center. So who observes? That is the thing we have to see. Further, what he says, if you give total attention in which there is complete insight into what you are observing, means he says that if you have total attention, then you will get the insight. Now again, when there is no center, who is getting the insight? This is also we have to see. What he further he says, attention to attend is to attend. In that attention, there is no division, therefore no measurement, no border. It is very clear. In attention, there is no attender. Further he says, in attention, there is no attender. The one who attends, and so there is no division. So this, he has made this word a very has given a very different meaning. What is the state of such a mind? He further says, what is the state of such a mind which is completely attentive? It has no quality, no center, no border. He also further says that such mind has no quality. This also we have to understand. Also he said, freedom from the known is attention into the unknown. So freedom from the known is attention into unknown. So this attention word he has given a very different meaning that we have to see. Now, so this, in my views, this word, to me, it creates a dilemma. However, I also agree with Harshad sir that you are in the attention, you are just with the object. When you are observing, you are just with the object, whatever it is. You are just free. You are moving in the what is. As far as this Swamiji has touched this traditional use also on this. Actually, he has given a concentration a very negative indication or meaning itself. But in Yoga Sutra, it is very clear. Dharana is concentration. Means first you have to concentrate on something, then it further, if it prolongs, then it will convert into dhyan. Means one absorbed in the object. Slowly, what will happen? My experience is your subconscious mind and unconscious mind both will tune up with that, and without doing anything, you will be absorbed in the object, having one's attention fully engaged in that. Then what is samadhi? Further, they say that samadhi is absorption in the object with no self. So here we comes to the attention, which JK is trying to indicate. In absorption in object with no self. Now again, as Harsha sir said, this is basically a cervical samadhi, in which still you are not there, you are already absorbed in the object, but object still is there. Then further, when object is also not there, then it becomes a nirvikal. Or in Yoga Sutra's language, it is sampragya samadhi when object is there, and ansampragya samadhi when object is not there. So this is what my views are, that this word has to be very carefully seen, and one has to really see what, if suppose he remains with the object, what he is trying to get. So I want comment on this from Swamiji as well as Harshad sir.
Swamiji,
Please repeat your last sentence where you summarized your question.
Attention means you have to remain with the object without any center.
Oh,
So
yes.
then there is no attender, but at the same time he is saying that there is insight also. So then who is getting this insight?
Yeah, I appreciate that kind of insight from Krishna ji. And I look at it as not deliberate. That is, we don't, with will, with decision, arrive at that state of no center. What we do on our part is noticing, being attentive. And as I explained in my talk, when there is increased awareness of the shallowness of our thinking, of I can call it foolishness also. I am unhappy being a professor in Madras, Chennai, and I imagine I will be very happy if I am a professor at MIT. That thinking that there and in that setting I will be happy is a very shallow thinking, because happiness is certainly not the outcome of external glitter and glamour. So when one sees, now I'll come to the central point of what you have raised, that urge, that dream, that aspiration vanishes, it gets burnt. In fact, Krishnaji said in one of his works, I think in the book, The Flame of Attention, it is mentioned that in complete attention, all hurt gets completely burnt away. Therefore, he calls it flame of attention. So this I center, I want to become this, or I made a mistake and I am a sinner, or I am a bad person. So many descriptions about who I am, how much worth I am, etc. That's called I center. This I center cannot stand the heat of the flame of attention. It vanishes, and then that is the scenario where there is continued watching but no center. The center was that egoism, that ego process. So on one hand, a label on how good or bad I am. On the other, an aspiration or a dream of what I want to become. All this together make the I center. So in gentle watching, the questionableness of those beliefs, believing that I'll be happy if I'm in England or America, yeah, I'll be happy if that woman is my wife or this man is my secretary. Always we think if that happens, we'll be happy and so on. It is so questionable. So, in gentle observing, intelligence operates and removes, dismantles those conjectures or those fancies, then the observing continues with no center, no observer, observation without the observer. That is my submission.
Harshad sir.
Yes,
Thank you, Swami.
whatever Krishna ji has said about attention, it seems very obvious to me, or any person who is actually have been in the state of attention will say that yes, what Krishna ji says is true, because there is no sense of I. When you look at the tree, it is possible to look at anything, whether it's a tree or a human being, just looking without this observer looking. So there is only observation, and in that state, if there is some insight happens, some new thing, it just happens. There is no sense of that I have got insight. It's not like that. And concentration can be done by intention, but observation one can't do one cannot decide to say that now I will be in the state of attention, because it means that you have really, you are trying to create attention, but attention happens when a person has gone very, very deep into looking at one's own self, looking at the thinking arising, and without any reaction to whatever is happening, then a new dimension comes into existence, what Krishnamurti would call choiceless awareness or attention. So in that state, one can move with whatever is happening, and there is no good, bad, or nothing like that, but just observing, and that is a wonderful state to be in that there is just looking, there is no I, and when there is no the sense of I, that kind of looking is very fresh, very new. It's what Krishnamurti would call a beauty, is looking at everything without the image, without creating the division between the observer and the observed. So there is no one who gets the insight, or there is no one who is in the state of attention, but attention is there. This kind of question comes, that who is attentive. It comes because I feel that the person has really not felt that state, and so will ask who is in the state of attention. There is no one there in the state of attention. There is just attention. It's just like a river which is moving, and the river doesn't say that I am moving. It is just moving. So there is a movement going on. Okay, I have said enough.
Pradeep Verma, please. Pradeep Verma, please come forward and say.
Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Audible, yes. Visible, both.
Thank you. Very interesting 1 hour discussion, stories from Purana, from Upanishads, and from other stories. The very fact that these 2 words have taken already 1 hour, more than that, energy in making it difficult and simple, easy and difficult. So this is what is happening just with 2 words. Usually we start with 2 words, apparently different. You see, we all love being different and the difference. We love it. You see, we go on describing because we discussed endlessly the difference between reality, actuality, and truth, relative and absolute in time and space. Knowing it, that word is not the thing. You see, this is what is right now. Dinesh has, in detail, he has described so many things. The thing is that concentration to me is basically, and everybody agrees to it, it's exclusive in the sense it excludes most of the other things. And this happens usually based on the interest of that self. We all have seen this happening. Whereas in attention, which is to me is basically very close to what they have described as witnessing, no involvement, no agenda, no motivation, but enjoying as such inclusive, everything inclusive, lots of freedom. Of course, self is there who is feeling all this. You may deny it, but it is very much there. We may go on denying observer, observed in observation, and go on defining this thing. But this is what happens. Now, what we are doing, we are trying to understand life through fragmentation. Because the moment mind is there, duality starts, and the difference starts, and distinction starts, and we start discussing this. Little bit on this side, that side, and at times in the middle. We are trying to understand life through fragmentation, very much like science. All this surprisingly to end conflicts. You see, we are all are a party to this psychological game. We love it. Of course, exceptions are there. Somebody may feel hurt about this. But then science is not always from the known. It is never, in fact, it is never from the known. Science is having a fresh look, just like that, and something strikes to a person who has inquiries, who is inquiring type, who wants to learn, who is empty almost, who knows that he doesn't know. So usually this happens. So invariably, we are taking a pair. Cases, there is physical measurement and psychological measurement. Are they not related? Then we talk of chronological time and psychological time. Are they not related? Then we talk of physiology, biology, and psychology. Are they not related? So these things we have to be very careful. Otherwise, this leads to endless discussions. You see? So thought is important, but silence is more important. So like this, we have been continuously discussing things and usually taking a pair and this Vivek through so-called Vivek, but ultimately it's all life. And we are trying to understand it through different fragments. This is what I have seen. I have seen, this is personal experience. I see life, I live life, enjoy life. I do all those things. So most of the things, everything is simultaneously. You can say, no, this is not, at that time, there is no insight. A man in reality, which is thought-based, do you think truth never comes to him? You may deny insight, but truth does happen. All those innovations, all those new things, so-called fresh and new things have come with all those people who were in reality only. Most of us are in reality. I am in reality. And I have seen a number of, in my research career, a number of so-called new things. Very few people have worked on them. But just by seeing, standing there in front of plants and just seeing them deeply. So this happens. So it's not that we go on excluding certain things and we are trying to understand the whole. This is the beauty. We have been continuously doing it. Or I may be wrong. People say, no, this doesn't happen. You only are mistaken as an individual. You can say that. You are suffering from intellect. You can say that. I am ready to listen to everything because this is all what I have seen. Not, I don't have to substantiate what JK has to say or what JK said. This is life, pure life. I face it every day, head on. So then only probably life starts revealing its secrets to anyone who goes as a blank person, who goes without any motive, without motivation, without to achieve or attain something. This is my experience, sir. Sorry if it hurts someone. Thank you very much. Again, thank you.
Rajendran sir, please.
Yes, yes, sir. Good
Rajendran,
evening, sir.
please.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the letting me to express what I feel. Sir, the general problem in understanding what Krishnaji says is we always, when Krishnaji says the truth is a pathless land, we immediately, we want to reach there, we want the steps, we want to take steps. What is the first step? What is the second step? When attention will come when there is, when the mind is silent. Then again we ask question, how to keep the mind silent? So we always try to understand the truth utilizing our intellect and thought. That is the problem. As long as we use intellect and our thought, we will not be able to see. We will not be able to see what is attention. Attention. Parekh Sahib is telling attention is there when there is when there is no thought. Again, we'll say how we can silence the thought. Everything we want to understand, utilizing the only source we are having. Is it thought is the only tool we are having, sir? Only source we are having. We always use our intellect and thought only for everything. So that is the trick is there. We fall into the trap. So how to do? Immediately we ask how to do, so that who is there when there is no thought is there, who else will be there? Always we try to only intellectually using our thought, even if you struggle for even hundreds of years, utilizing using the only tool that we are having. We assume we are having that intellect and thought. We will never be able to understand what Krishnaji says. But how to keep the mind silent? We have to do some, Krishnaji says, the art of living, art of listening. So keeping the art, what Krishnaji is giving a definition, art means keeping the things at the right place. So let us put thought at the right place. So let us put means we cannot just, it's not a thing we can put it there in some place, just like we keep the knife or scissor in the right place, not like that. So when the thought sees its own limitations and it will find its own place. It will go on just coiling its tail, it will go and rest its own place. So before that, we have to keep our mind quiet. We have to see the utility of forming opinions, conclusions, ideas, judgment. We have about something, we have only less than 0.01% of the input or knowledge. With that 1% or less than 1% of the input information we are having, we form opinions, we form judgments, we criticize people, condemn people, we judge people, we compare, and that creates a lot of noise. Once we see that, we will never be comfortable in keeping with the reality that we don't know. Unknown things we will always guess. Even if we don't, we will try to find even some gossip is there, we'll go on to catch gossip. Because we cannot, because our brain is living in a dark cave. It is always curious, it is very hungry and thirsty for what is happening, data, information, what is happening outside that black box. So it grabs everything, so hungry. It grabs everything, whatever it is. So that information we have is less than 1% about anything, everything. With that 1% knowledge, 1% information, we condemn people, judge people, form opinion, credit. So that makes our mind, this is one of the things that makes our mind noisy. So only when we realize that the limitations of the thought and the dangers of the knowledge, then only, so it may be the first step or last step, as Krishnaji says. The mind may be quiet and attention will come. Attention is always there. That attention, awareness and attention is always there. That is only distracted and disturbed by our neurotic thought, forming opinion, condemning people, judging, and all this noise only. This attention is being driven away. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dinesh Waghmare, you have to say something new?
I have to ask Harshad sir whether this choiceless awareness and attention, they will go both together, or they will not be together.
बोलो. हाँ बोल
They
जल्दी
are the
खत्म.
same thing, actually. Choiceless awareness and attention, there is no difference between the two. What I want to say about the scientists, Pradeep Verma ji said that something about
हाँ
scientists.
बोल.
I feel that the scientists are not free
हाँ बोल.
from psychological problems like ambition, jealousy,
बोल बेटा.
fear. They all exist, though they may be very good in their subject.
Sorry for
Whether
interruption,
it
sir.
is
सुशील कमलेश जी, सुशील जैन साहब को जरा वो करो म्यूट.
सुशील जैन साहब एक मिनट के लिए अनम्यूट कर लो, थोड़ा सा आवाज आ रही है आपके वहां से.
हाँ कर लिया अनम्यूट.
हाँ जी,
चिंता
मत कर.
Yeah. So what I am saying is that the scientists, they are not free from the psychological problems. I have come across very good professors and they had many problems. So this spiritual field, attention, awareness is for people who want to go beyond knowledge. Whereas a scientist, they have a goal, they have an achievement, they want awards, they want to go to conference, they want their name, fame, money, they want all that. So scientists are working in the field of matter and energy, but the spirituality is something quite different than matter and that kind of material energy which comes from matter. So for people who are interested in attention or meditation, they have to give up whatever they have gathered, the knowledge. It becomes an obstacle. And it is very difficult to give up. Even Ramakrishna was not able to give up the image of Kali. So it is very, very rare that people can, because you can't decide to give up, but it can happen. When it happens, then you see the real beauty of what Krishnamurti is saying about attention, awareness. Then you will say, yes, that is what Krishnaji says is quite obvious. There is no one there in this attention. It is just looking without any image. But if someone comes and tells me what you are looking, I will say I am looking at neem tree or a rose flower or a Ramesh or somebody. But when I am looking, there is no, that knowledge is not interfering. And that is the beauty of looking or attention, whatever word we want to use. So only when such a thing happens, then you will feel that something new has happened in your life. Otherwise, all endless questions you will be asking, who is the one who is attending? So one has to really be silent and then in that silence, if one can see everything very clearly, very fresh, very new, then you will say, yes, there is no one there who is looking. It's just looking, you know. Okay, I have finished. Yes, and when you stop asking questions, as long as you are asking questions, then your mind will be churning. But when you realize that it is nothing, there is no question, just looking at whatever is happening. When you ask a question, you are determining a certain direction. And in that direction you want to go, whether it is a fear or anger or jealousy. And then you pile up a lot of words. But in attention, there is no goal, no any path to go along. So even a person like Upulji once asked me, how do you then proceed in this inquiry? So I said, there is nothing to proceed to. It's only just looking at whatever is happening. And that is the real freedom, without trying to change whatever is happening, just looking with awareness. But when this awareness or attention is not there, there will be lots of fragments, I, me, many division will be created. And then it is a waste of energy. Okay, I have finished.
Dr. Pradeep Verma.
Yes, sir. Harshad ji has given to me, a very partial view about the scientists. That may be true about the physical scientists, physicists, engineers, and all those mechanical scientists, those who work on already known things and work beyond that, or rather advancement of that. But in life sciences, the real scientist wants to learn. You see, earlier scientists, they were philosophers. You see, John Wolfgang Goethe was their German famous man. They were biologists as well as philosophers. They could understand things very deeply. Till today, we are trying to we see a lot of truth in what they said earlier. So the real scientist is a seer. He has to see. He's a blank. He doesn't know anything. He's a learner. Not even learner as a motive. Learning as such doesn't mean anything. He just looks into things and questions come out of it. And nature starts talking to you, which he also knows. He talks beautifully about non-verbal communication. So it is not that every scientist works on in fact, research may be one thing, but search is different. You see, we go on, he talks about newness, freshness. Where is the question of early knowledge? This can be impediment only. So I'd say that seeing is the most important thing, and everything comes out of it. This instrument that is seeing and what is being seen, everything together works. So we can't define scientists like this. You see, the moment you define, you conclude something. And life is never concluded. It is never concluded. Everything, every day, every moment, I am new, everything is new around me. So that is the approach. That is what I feel. I don't know whether I'm able to convey what I really feel. Feeling is important, sensitivity is important to me, emotions are important to me, intellect is important to me, intelligence comes, and I cannot decipher it when it comes. So thank you very much.
जैन साहब आप म्यूट हैं। जैन साहब आप म्यूट हैं, अनम्यूट करें।
तो मेरे ख्याल से फिनिश करें इसको। लेट अस फिनिश इट एज देयर इज नो वन रेजिंग हैंड।
हर्षद पारेख सर को कुछ बोलना हो तो कंक्लूड करना हो तो
Yeah, I would
You
like
wanted
to.
to conclude? You wanted to conclude?
Swamiji has gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yes, what I like to say that I read the biography of David Bohm, who had gone very deep into physics as well as metaphysics, and he had many dialogues with Krishnaji. But
Yes.
from time to time, there used to be problems, fear of something which happened in the past, and breakdown, mental breakdown. And so even Krishnaji told him that David Bohm had really not come to that state of attention, which Krishnaji is talking about, where there are no questions, there is only seeing, no need to find out anything, no questions, but moving with what is. Of course, people who are like Pradeep Verma ji said, that insight may come from the state of attention, but then that is not enough for the scientist. Then the scientist has to use knowledge to work on that insight, then have to write the paper, then have to publish, and then go to the conference and talk about it. So there is a lot of knowledge involved in even getting insight may be true. In the state of attention, a scientist may get the attention about a particular, say, biology or chemistry or something, but then he has to work with the previous knowledge and write articles, go publish papers, and so on. But in a religious, spiritual person, such a person has no goal, would like to publish anything. But sometimes some disciples come to such teachers, and then these disciples, they learn a lot from the guru, and the disciple will write books, all that. But the real spiritual person, I don't think would like to write everything with a aim to become somebody, or become famous or earn money or something like that. Okay, I have said enough.
Thank you. Pradeep ji, you wanted to conclude now?
Not. I cannot conclude, sir. I cannot. But the thing is, I know my limitations. But the thing is, when you think in terms of publishing your work, then you need substantiate that.
Breaking, sir. Voice is breaking.
Voice is
breaking, sir.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Voice is breaking.
Something comes to you. Is it now audible?
No, sir.
Audible?
Yeah.
No, sir. It's breaking still. So you conclude it later on, sir. So because it is
Let's
already
break it.
7:30, so let us finish. Let us
Let's
finish.
have a break.
That nature is giving the answer, the voice is breaking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next Sunday, we will be having meeting at 6 p.m.
Yes.
and the speaker will be Ashwini Kumar.
Ashwani.
Okay.
Ashwani.
So you all are compulsorily, you have to come there.
By order.
Compulsion is my way.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.